Hello and thank you for joining us on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Rich Merritt. Here's what we're tracking for you today. Denver is bracing for an early taste of winter. The low temperatures they're feeling that's prompting a freeze warning will show you how cold it will get and when the mile-high city can expect a warm-up. Plus, the cleanup around the Pacific Northwest from last weekend's wild weather continues. An update on where people are still in the dark as crews have been working to get the power back on. And right now, a Category 5 hurricane is barreling towards Jamaica as people are being told to get out. We're tracking Hurricane Melissa as the island's infrastructure faces total failure. And Mount Hood in Oregon is starting to look like a winter wonderland after seeing 20 inches of snow over the past few days. And we'll take you there to learn more about the conditions from Timberline. Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. But today we're going to begin by tracking Hurricane Melissa as a Category 5 storm strengthens on its way to Jamaica. This is a look at the storm's path, showing its size as the center is expected to make landfall in the next few hours. This is going to be bringing flash flooding, landslides, and a dangerous storm surge. Here's a live look at the cameras in Jamaica where Melissa's outer bands are lashing the island. The rain is only expected to increase as forecasters predict almost 3 feet of water will fall in some areas. We're also now seeing incredible images from inside the eye of the storm. Video from an Air Force Reserve member is providing us with this jaw-dropping footage. Forecasters say Melissa is the strongest hurricane so far this year. The National Hurricane Center warned of the potential, quote, total structural failure in Jamaica.
Would have an impact on our shores more to the western end of Jamaica. And if that were to happen, and I've said it before, I don't believe there's any infrastructure within this region that could withstand a Category 5 storm.
No hurricane has ever made landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm. And while all eyes are watching the Caribbean as a historically devastating storm bears down on the island, volunteers in South Florida spent yesterday packing boxes for Jamaica. The volunteers in Doral packed boxes with non-perishable food and other donations destined for Jamaica after the storm. Officials from Global Empowerment Missions say the plan is to deliver 50,000 pounds of aid once conditions are safe.
We were talking about this storm as early part of last week and how to get as much as we can prepped and ready to go.
Of course, we'll keep you updated as this storm develops throughout today and the week. Now turning to your Weather Out West forecast, we start the day in Colorado where they're bracing for an early freeze as colder air moves through the state. Meteorologists Chris Bianchi and Kathy Sabin have more.
Freeze warning in place for the I-25 corridor, including Denver for tonight. And temperatures will drop down into the 20s for most of the metro area. For most of us, this is going to be our first hard freeze of the season. What's a hard freeze? How's that different from regular freeze? A regular freeze, you drop down to 32 degrees for at least an hour. Hard freeze, 3 or more hours of temperatures at or below 28 degrees. That's considered the rough threshold where most plants irreversible damage to tender vegetation. So certainly keep that in mind that tonight it's the end of growing season for us here along the Front Range. The other story here today, temperatures, chilly for us with highs in the 40s and 50s Eastern Plains. Notice that average high in Denver, 60 degrees. We'll only top out at 49 and a bit of fresh snow for us across our central and northern mountains. So we're going to top out in just the 20s and 30s for us in the high terrain, 50s as you get a little bit further south. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that wind will be around for us through the day today. Those winds gusting up into that 30 to 40 mile an hour range this morning, and then this afternoon, those winds will back off, but still some 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. You factor in those air temperatures, which will struggle to get out of the 40s in most cases on the eastern plains. It's going to be chilly out there, no doubt about it, on this Tuesday. But that 7-day forecast overall, fairly quiet look to it with our next really chance for rain. Well, in Denver, we don't really have that over the next few days. We will top out in the 50s. We'll warm up for Wednesday, Thursday, and for your Halloween. And then we start off November on a bit of a mild note with highs in the 60s and 70s for Saturday and Sunday. Final thing I want to leave you with, that Halloween forecast. Not too spooky this year. We can get anything this time of year. If you're watching from Colorado, you're nodding your head. You're going, yep, you can get anything this time of year. But for this Halloween, 50s to start, 40s for those trick-or-treaters on Friday night.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. On this Tuesday, October 28th, we have seen the coldest temperatures that Denver's seen thus far this season. A freeze warning took effect early Tuesday, and even colder air arrives for early Wednesday, with another freeze warning set to be in place from 10 p.m. until 10 a.m. early tomorrow. But these temperatures are pretty typical for this time of the year. We hit the upper 20s officially out at Denver International Airport, 26, but that was the coldest temperature the airport has seen since April 20th. Typically, we see a low of 32 degrees. We're hovering in the low 30s in downtown Denver this morning. It will be quite a bit cooler for tomorrow, significantly so. But looking at some of the data, earliest date that we did see our first freeze where it was 32 degrees or lower in Denver was back on September 8th of 2020. The latest was in November, mid-November, back in 1944. Average date is October 7th. So we're a little behind schedule in terms of our average first freeze, but by tomorrow morning, a much colder start to the day. A lot of the state under some frigid conditions, low 20s expected for lows for Fort Collins into downtown Denver. Now, as our next ridge of high pressure builds in from the west, the mountains won't be quite as chilly early tomorrow and through the day. Forecasted highs, we will gradually get back to the upper 50s here for the metro area, but in the mountains, you can see 40s and 50s. So our next ridge building in from the west-southwest. This will drag in some warmer air as we get into the end of the week and weekend. Milder conditions still right around average, though, for this time of the year, especially as we look ahead to our Halloween forecast. The average high on October 31st in Denver is 57 degrees. We are expecting 57 under a partly cloudy sky, so dry conditions, still chilly, but nothing too scary for any trick-or-treaters out and about on Friday night.
And next we head to Arizona, where temperatures are climbing above normal into the low 90s with breezy conditions. Those are expected at higher elevations. Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries has more from Phoenix.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries. We'll look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we are kind of doing our best, let's say, fall-like impression done desert style. Well, the reason I say that is our temperatures are up. Wow, yeah, the warmest day of the week coming at you today. That means numbers like 93 in Phoenix. Okay, we are about to close out October and get into November, and I'm still talking about numbers like 94 in Yuma, 92 in Parker, 91 in Tucson. Yep, it's a little elevated. It's not quite up to record territory. The records for us stand closer to about 97 degrees. And on an average year, we will still see 90s the final week of October. Unfortunately, these 90s are popping up once again in the 7-day forecast, which means they're going to carry over into November. The culprit, this guy right here, high pressure commanding, keeping all the moisture and the cool air well to the north of us. Even the wind associated with it is basically going to scoot all the way around the four corners. So we have no wind relief. We have no cloud relief. Instead, we're just going to get commanding sunshine and temperatures that are elevated. I mentioned it's going to be through today, also tomorrow, but even through the weekend, our numbers are going to be a little bit on the warmer side. And the 7-day forecast does show that temperatures are going to be elevated. But hey, let's focus on this, right? Your Halloween forecast. Lots of people making plans for Friday night. So I want to get you ready via temperatures. And as you can see by 4 o'clock, yeah, we are still in the low 90s, but we're looking for those numbers to come down pretty rapidly. In fact, by about 8 o'clock in the evening, temps are down to 81 degrees. Well, if you're feeling some fall vibes, I've got something for you. We are peaking right now as far as our fall colors in Flagstaff, and you gotta get out there and enjoy it. I mean, when temperatures like the 90s for us, that means near 70 degrees in the higher elevations, and those leaves are gonna turn rapidly. But meantime, our 12 News weather watchers, yeah, they are out in full force across high country, capturing amazing shots like this one. Michael and Prescott getting all those gold views. Cheryl and Sedona capturing the cotton candy sky overhead. So yes, get outside and enjoy it, especially in the evening hours and the morning, because that's the coolest time of the day. Now, during the afternoon, between 3 to 4, we are seeing numbers like 91 in Chandler, 90 for Fountain Hills, 92 in Glendale, 93 in Goodyear, and about 92 in Surprise. So abundant sunshine, not much wind to talk about. We've got winds out of the north at about 5 miles an hour. As far as where we're supposed to be, I mean, look at this. 85 is the norm, 97 is a record. We are somewhere in the middle, erring on the toastier side. So, yep, it's a little bit on the warm side, even by our standards. But tonight it's going to be clear and mild as dropped down to about 65 degrees. Now, we're holding with this theme of 90-degree heat, but we do start to see your temperatures trending down slightly. So, Flagstaff, that means about 62 for you tomorrow. Pair of sevens in Sedona and 91 in Phoenix. As we look ahead, all right, we're closing out October, looking for the first week of November, and temperatures are going to be on the warmer side. Flagstaff, I've got you tickling 70 degrees. And here in the valley, after a couple rounds of 90s today, we're going to hit 90 once again this weekend. And unfortunately, it does look we are staying at or above the normal range for the next 7 days.
And when we come back, your Tuesday forecast for the Pacific Northwest. And snow in the mountains has a lot of you thinking about skiing and snowboarding. What mountain resorts in Washington are doing to take advantage of the early arrival of snow and new snowmaking equipment to get the slopes open early. Well, Washington skiers are welcome their first major snowfall of the season last weekend. The summit at Snoqualmie is already reporting a half foot of early season snow at the base. For the first time, they will use artificial snow machines to help build the roughly 3-foot snowpack needed to open earlier and stay open longer. Historically, the summit at Snoqualmie opens during the first week of September.
We're seeing the first significant snowfall of the year here at Snoqualmie Pass, especially at base elevation. This is probably one of the earliest we've seen in the last decade as far as 5 to 6 inches in October.
And the staff at Snoqualmie are hopeful that a La Nina winter will bring cooler and wetter conditions, which could mean an earlier ski season. Meanwhile, Puget Sound Energy in Washington is working to restore power to nearly 900 customers still without power in King, Pierce, and Thurston counties. PSE says it has been working 90 crews very hard to restore the power after Saturday's storm. The company even brought in extra help from Idaho and Oregon to speed up repairs and get life back to normal for customers.
We don't know, but we hope the sooner the better. We can't do laundry right now. You know, it's hard. It's a terrible situation.
PSE said crews are dealing with damaged transmission lines which take longer to fix. A spokesperson said everyone should expect to have their power back on by Wednesday. And in Portland, where they were also battered by the same atmospheric river over the weekend, all power has been restored to residents in the surrounding area. But the rain isn't done with Oregon yet. Meteorologist Rod Hill has more.
It's Tuesday in Portland and everywhere else around the Northwest, of course. I'm Rod Hill. We've had a touch of just some light rain this morning. We were expecting rain with a warm push of moisture, a warm front, up around Astoria, but we ended up seeing a little bit of light rain through Portland this morning as well. Barely enough just to make the concrete look a little damp. And now that's moving out. And it looks like if you're going to be down this way, that will go on to be mainly dry and cloudy today with temps in the 50s and not much wind, really very pleasant. We are watching this elongated band of cloudiness. This is a front that will come in overnight tonight, and it will bring a fast-hitting shot, kind of a mini shot of some decent rain, and then current track is it would be gone by early Wednesday morning, and then we actually have a couple of really nice days coming up. The closer look, you can see the light rain that's now breaking up across the area. Cloudiness pushing over the Cascades out in the central and eastern parts of our state. Some live cameras for you. Timberline, for the most part, still has on the ground the 20 inches of snow that fell over the weekend. Temperature's been about 30 degrees up there this morning. Everybody is cloudy. This is gray, but now dry in Lincoln City. And even at the beach, I think it's going to be mainly dry today, just overcast. Our Snook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. See a dog running there. Not much wind. See 2 dogs running there. And then our beautiful fall foliage shot. I'm going to miss this camera when the leaves drop because they've been so pretty on the Capitol Mall area in Salem, where there was a trace of rain at most this morning. Portland, again, we had just enough rain to make the pavement look a little damp, but you can see the overcast skies. We'll keep the clouds all day long. Futurecast shows that. Here we are going into the afternoon hours. And then this evening, remember that elongated band of cloudiness I showed you on the satellite? Well, here it is. And the red and yellow indicates decent rain rates. About midnight, this front pushes into Portland, and it might briefly wake some people up. It looks to be a fast-hitting 1/4 of an inch of rain for the Rose City, and then it's gone well before morning. Here's Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock, and then we go on to basically be sunny. So again, tomorrow and Thursday both look to be really nice days with a lot of sunshine, and then the next rainmaker will come in, it looks like, during the day on Halloween. More on that in a second. All right, so this afternoon we have clouds on the west side. Maybe at some point there's a touch of some light rain again, northern areas, that story up in the Kelso Longview. Clouds over into central Oregon, otherwise a nice day, Bend 62. Partly cloudy out in Burns to mostly sunny, and partly sunny skies out over the Blue Mountains. Here's Portland's 7-day. So 57 today, the couple nice sunny days, 60 Wednesday, 61 Thursday. Halloween, pretty good confidence right now. It will be a dry morning. There's at least a glimmer of hope that rain could hold off until at some point after the trick-or-treat hours. But at this point, I feel like it's most likely we'll get rain no later than late afternoon, which means it would be raining during the trick-or-treat hours. And then overnight and with a rainy Saturday, this could be another 3/4 to an inch of rain. It'd be the 4th weekend in a row we've had pretty good rain. Sunday may or may not see a lingering shower, and at this point it looks like a dry start to next week. And that is your forecast for the Rose City on what will be a cloudy but otherwise pleasant Tuesday.
And Puget Sound is settling into a fall pattern for sure after the big storm last week. We've had a little bit of a break for a few days and we're able to get the rain through tonight like Portland. We're looking for a little bit of mid-week break, a time to clean up from everything that came down over the weekend before the next atmospheric river heads our way and maybe soaks down trick-or-treating. I look at the details of the forecast coming up. Hi, I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and we're off to a pretty quiet start today. We have been watching a warm front kind of push its way in from the coast. Not a whole lot in it, and it's weakening as it moves inland. We've seen a few showers out towards the coast in southwestern Washington. A few light showers and sprinkles primarily down in the South Sound. A lot of what you're seeing is evaporating before it gets down to the ground. But there is a cold front farther off the coast that's going to be pushing in by late afternoon, early evening for a round of steady rain headed our way overnight tonight. Looking out around this morning, you can see that deck of clouds from that warm front, and the fact that it's up above the Cascades there mostly is a sign that we've got a pretty good layer of dry air underneath it, which is one of the reasons we're not seeing that much rain make it down to the ground. And that's pretty much the story up and down the Sound as we take a look at that. Still seeing a little light trying to sneak over from eastern Washington there. There in the Valley High School Olympia in that time lapse, you kind of get a sense of seeing a little bit of a shower kind of moving through there. And out along the coast, they definitely have been seeing some light rain out there. Things have been looking pretty wet through most of the morning. Our extended forecast, we get through this afternoon, and then we do see a little front move in tonight for a chance of some rain. That's going to wrap up pretty early, clearing out to sunshine Wednesday on into Thursday. Good time for doing some cleanup from last weekend's storm before another atmospheric river moves in for increasing rain Friday afternoon. Much weaker than the one that we saw last weekend, but it still is going to give us some steady rain. Unfortunately, probably during trick-or-treating, so be prepared for that. It does turn to some showers over the weekend. It will be a little breezy on Saturday, but that's going to be primarily north of Everett in places that are usually fairly breezy, so nothing like what we saw last weekend. You can't rule out a spotty power outage, but we won't see the widespread outages we saw last weekend. And then we see things kind of dry out later in the weekend to start off next week. Take a look across the passes, and no problems at all, no restrictions for any of the passes today. Probably none headed their way as those snow levels are going to be going up. Today they're going to be rising up to about 7,000 feet. Behind that front might drop to about 5,000 feet, and then as the rain moves in on Friday, it's going to be coming as rain for all the ski areas because snow levels are going to be up around about 9,000 feet, and even behind it, it doesn't really drop down very much. It's only to 6,000 feet on Saturday, and we're seeing most of the precipitation, so not really helping us with trying to get an early start to the ski season, but it's still early. We'll get there. Just be patient. Checking the satellite image, you see this front doesn't have a whole lot to it. It's a little very weak atmospheric river. It doesn't have much of a connection to moisture source there, and so it's moving in and continuing to weaken. This next system back here is really going to go up above a little ridge that's going to build in over us for later Wednesday and Thursday. But if we swing around and take a look way out here, this is probably the system that's going to be working its way in here as we head towards Friday. It'll have a little bit more of a connection once it gets developed, which will give us a little bit more rain than the ones we're seeing right now, and that is going to give us a rainy not Thanksgiving, a rainy Halloween evening. And then as we head on into Saturday, we'll probably have some rain in the morning before it turns to off and on showers. And again, it will have some wind in it, but nothing like what we saw last weekend. So shouldn't cause any of the widespread impacts that we saw last Saturday. Take a look at the forecast. You can see the system moving in today zips right on through. We start to clear out tomorrow afternoon, and then we clear out and have a pretty good day on Thursday. As we head into Friday, we will start to see that rain begin to move in time to probably wet down trick-or-treating. Maybe it'll slow up a little bit. We'll get some of that trick-or-treating in before the rains really come, but then it's with us overnight, Friday night on into Saturday, kind of soaking things down and leaves behind showers on Saturday. That moves on through. We start to see a little bit of clearing on Sunday, and then we get into Monday where we might see some sun mixed with just a couple showers. So for today, though, we're basically looking at mostly cloudy skies, maybe a couple showers of sprinkles during the day today around Puget Sound. We'll look for rain moving in, steady rain, probably after about 6 to 8 o'clock this evening. We see low to mid 50s for highs. A few morning showers, though, should end quickly, turning partly sunny on Wednesday. Thursday, we might see a little morning fog. Otherwise, a pretty good looking day. As I said, a good time to go out and kind of clean out gutters and take up some of the leaves that came down last weekend. Increasing rain in the afternoon on Halloween, maybe hitting trick-or-treating. We'll look for Saturday to start with some steady rain, turn to off and on showers, and getting a little breezy during the day, especially north of Everett. As we head into Sunday, decreasing showers and clearing. Monday looks partly sunny with just a couple afternoon showers and high temperatures as we head into next week, running mostly in the mid-50s. And after the break, we'll go back to Oregon, where winter appears to be making an early appearance on Mount Hood. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri will show us what it looks like there as ski season gets about ready to start. Over the past few days, 20 inches of snow dropped on Mount Hood, setting the stage for ski season, which is expected to start in just a few weeks. Portland's meteorologist Joe Ranieri brings us more on the conditions from Timberline.
This weekend's snow was really the first big snowstorm of the fall so far this year. In the last couple of days, more than 2 feet of snow has fallen over the Oregon Cascades. So if you're going to be traveling over in this area of the state, be prepared for snow-covered roads and winter driving conditions. Driving through the Oregon Cascades looks a lot different from what it did just a week ago.
It's the best place ever, honestly. It's amazing.
And the biggest snowstorm since last spring.
This is a good dump. I feel like end of October, we usually get one. I've been up here for the last 10 or so years. But this is one of the deeper ones. There's a lot of snow up here.
Brought a lot of skiers and snowboarders back to their favorite peak.
The snow stake's buried. I checked the Timberline webcam this morning, and it's all the way to the top of it. And I think that thing maxes out at 18 inches.
For Megan Olson, this snow gave her a chance for a more intense day on the slopes.
So splitboarding is when you can climb up on 2 skis, the skins hold the snow so you can get a good grip on it. Then once you get up there, you transition, you put the board together, and you can snowboard down.
The snow did catch some drivers off guard.
We kind of did, but I thought it would be more like a mist than full-blown snow.
Amy Attaway, who describes herself as a Southern Belle, just moved here from Louisiana in June.
This is the most snow I've ever seen in my life. We got 7 inches in Baton Rouge last February, and they called it the 100-year snow because we've not had that much in 100 years.
The start of what everyone hopes will be a good winter in the mountains.
Please, guys, pray for snow every day.
So now everybody wants to know, when will the resorts open for the season? You're going to have to wait a couple of weeks. On average, Timberline Lodge likes to open by mid-November. That's what they did last year. Hopefully they can do it again this year. Outside Timberline Lodge, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
And it's not far away, that's for sure. Still to come, forecast from the Golden State. Stay with us. Thank you for hanging around with us here on Weather Out West. We continue our forecast in Southern California, where meteorologist Vanessa Paz is tracking the Santa Ana winds that are fueling up some warm weather in Southern California.
Happy Tuesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Well, we have some big changes as we look ahead to the second half of the week. We're talking about a weak Santa Ana event that is going to bring in some breezy, dry, and hot conditions, especially for interior parts of the county. I first want to give a shout out to Art Harrell for sending in this photo. This was of last night's sunset along our coast in the OB area. As we take a look at the weather headlines, we are going to have elevated fire danger across San Diego County today. It's going to be dry, and we're looking at amplified winds, isolated gusts anywhere between 25 to 40 miles per hour, especially across the foothills, canyons, and passes. The heat peaks Wednesday, but the winds peak today. We're looking at 90s inland for especially those warmer spots that include El Cajon, Santee, as well as Valley Center, and then we'll be near 80 along the coast. So typically we head west towards the beaches to find relief from the heat. Unfortunately, the coastal areas will get in on this action in terms of the warm up. And then looking ahead to the end of the week, also known as Halloween, we're looking at some gradual relief. All right, so this heat up is enough to warrant a heat advisories along with red flag warnings for much of Southern California from San Diego all the way towards Ventura, Santa Barbara, and LA counties. As we zoom on into San Diego, a heat advisory will take over the inland valleys starting at 11 o'clock today, lasting all the way through Wednesday night. However, the National Weather Service could very well extend that into Thursday, depending on how long the heat lingers. We are just advised, especially for those hanging out inland, to limit time outside, take frequent breaks in the shade, and checking on those who are susceptible to heat-related illnesses and making sure that they have adequate ways to stay cool over the next couple of days. So here is our wind gust forecast. Notice how we're ramped up around the 3 o'clock hour. You notice that color contour there. You pay attention to the reddish colors and you look at the key isolated gusts anywhere between that 30 to 40 mile per hour range. The winds peak today, so they'll dry things out. Some of the relative humidity levels later on this afternoon will plummet to the single digits, and that is going to elevate fire danger, especially when you mix in those really warm temperatures. We've had a lack of clouds to start off our Tuesday, and that resulted into very cold temperatures to start off the day. However, looking ahead to this afternoon, they're going to soar. We'll go from the 60s to the 80s eventually for the inland valleys, especially for those neighborhoods that hug the 15 freeway. We're talking about mid to high 80s from Fallbrook all the way down to Vista, low 90s for spots like Escondido as well as Ramona, and it will be comfortable for one day along the coastal areas. Daytime highs will reach the mid to high 70s this afternoon, and then temperatures are going to warm up even more so on Wednesday. So Wednesday is when that warmth peaks. By then, daytime highs will be anywhere between 10 to nearly 20 degrees above normal. All right, so here's what's on tap over the next 7 days along the coast. The warmth peaks Wednesday, and then temperatures will back off a little bit Thursday and Friday. But even by the time we get to the weekend, especially for the inland valleys, these numbers will be above normal. So we'll go from the 90s to the high 80s on Thursday, and temperatures will back off a bit on Friday. Something to keep in mind is the nights will remain rather cool. So once we get towards those sundown hours, temperatures will come crashing down. That's the good news about this warm up. The mountains and desert areas, we have a few days of the 80s, 70s returning by Friday, 90s for a few days, mid 90s by Thursday, and then we're in the low 90s by the end of the week.
We now head up I-5 to Sacramento to where they're enjoying some pretty quiet weather. Meteorologist Monica Woods has more.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we are tracking some ideal fall weather throughout northern and central California. Looking at our regional headlines, we're sunny along the coast for the valley, a bit warmer, peak fall color for the foothills, and still cool for the Sierra, although dry. Here's a look at some of those gorgeous fall colors we have right now throughout our region. This is in Nevada City, those beautiful reds coming out, as well as the golden colors on some of those trees in Quincy. And as we make our way into the higher elevations, those leaves trying to hold on for one last stand. But with the current conditions, they are going to fall rather quickly, especially with north winds developing in our forecast. That's going to erode a lot of the low cloudiness that we saw earlier in the week. Instead, we have those north winds that will keep us dry and on the warmer side, especially along the coast where we see very little in the way of fog. So mostly sunny skies, and again, under that ridge of high pressure, sinking, warming air keeps that storm track well to the north as well. So not a lot of fall showers in our forecast for the short-term outlook. Perhaps a little bit deeper into our 10-day forecast. For the meantime, though, we're looking at mostly sunny skies and unseasonably warm conditions as well. We'll see those temperatures running about 5 and in some places almost 10 degrees degrees above average. For the work week, we hit that peak warmth for the middle of the week on Wednesday, and then we see a little drop in temperatures, not much, still running right about, if not slightly above average, and then another pulse of warm air coming in for our weekend outlook. That's going to keep us with lovely conditions, not only for Halloween, but through the weekend as well. Don't forget, we get that extra hour of sleep as well. Nice weather to enjoy the extra hour that we get this weekend. Highs will be in the 60s for our Tuesday forecast. Down the hill, we get into the 70s with overnight lows dropping into the 50s. Now, keep in mind, for overnight lows, we're a little bit warmer in some of the foothills, and that's because we trap some of that daytime warmth. Highs will be in the 70s throughout the Central Valley, including Fresno, as well as Madera and Merced. 60s and 70s as we head throughout the Central Sierra. After some showers last week, we start to clear out and look at mostly sunny skies. Tuesday's forecast highs throughout the Central Coast. We're in the upper 60s to right around 70. Look at Big Sur, 81 degrees for that Tuesday. We're in the mid to even upper 70s for parts of the San Joaquin Valley along I-5, Los Banos at 77 degrees. And then we move into the Bay Area with, again, sunny skies. That keeps us with very limited low clouds and fog with those north winds. We'll hit highs in the 70s for our Tuesday. Inland areas almost near 80 for some of us. So again, above average temperatures are starting to build in the outlook. We're in the 60s and 70s along the northwest coast for our north end of the valley. Highs will be in the upper 70s to right around the mid 70s, and we'll see that as well throughout the capital region. Highs will be in the mid 70s to right around the upper 70s, but overnight lows for the valley. We really maximize that overnight cooling in the upper 40s to right around 50. Our extended forecast for the next 5 days, we've got a mix of sun and clouds for this year. Our highs will be in the 60s, a little bit warmer for Saturday, a high of 67, and again 76 as we head into the foothills for the beginning of that weekend. For the Bay Area and the coast, we're going to see highs in the 60s and 70s with a mix of sun and clouds. Moving on to our extended forecast, of course, we've got Halloween on Friday, and since it's on Friday, it's very likely that it'll extend with the celebrations all throughout the weekend. Lots of sugar and candy, I'm sure, consumed this weekend with our time change happening on Sunday.
And we'll finish our weather tour of the West by heading back to the Pacific Northwest right after a break. Thanks for sticking with us here on Weather Out West. Spokane is looking at off and on rain chances today, with more rain expected to come tomorrow. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick has more.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Fog is nearly impossible to forecast for. It's usually just watching cameras and watching observation points and seeing which ones really just appear foggy at any given point. Today has been one of those cases, especially through these morning hours. Just a couple isolated spots. Highlighting a couple of those, kind of like a where's this camera located? This is Athol, Idaho, overlooking Silverwood Theme Park, but you can't see any of the roller coasters at all because of how foggy it has been there this morning. It's certainly along Highway 95, that stretch of road in far north Idaho. It's been the same case in the West Plains of Spokane County. So this out towards Medical Lake at the 902 exit, and then just down the road, the next camera over at Thomas Mullen Road. This is all west of Spokane, and it really has been the airport and west has been foggy, but not downtown Spokane, where our studios are located, which is on the South Hill of Spokane, perfectly sunny all morning long. So it's been one of those weird cases of just watching those cameras, relaying that information to you, and then just saying, hey, it's pretty isolated. There's only a couple very isolated spots that have looked like that. Now, regular cloud cover will continue to keep temperatures cool today, maybe right at 50 in Spokane, same in Coeur d'Alene. Otherwise, lots of upper 40s for this afternoon, very close to the average high of just 51 for today. Won't be quite as cold overnight this time because of the incoming cloud cover. Not fog, just kind of regular low to mid-level cloud cover. Maybe a few sprinkles over central Washington this afternoon, but really for eastern Washington, our rainfall is going to come from the cold front as opposed to the warm front. The mountains, the Cascades doing a great job at really halting a lot of that moisture before it arrives in central and eastern Washington. Big rain shadow effect. So the stronger cold front will be able to give us rainfall tomorrow morning. This is Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Good shot of rainfall just to kick off the day, just to get everything wet. And there she goes already. Even by 8 and 9 a.m., it is finished. So in Spokane, it's really a 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. rainfall, and that's it for the day. So not a ton of rain, just enough to get things wet, and thankfully not lingering into the day. Funny enough, by the afternoon, this is all clear skies. So Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, and most of the day Friday, all dry. We just get a quick shot of rain from this first storm that passes into the West Coast. The second storm starting to build over the North Pacific, a familiar pattern here, anchored low pressure region just off the coast of Alaska, and the jet stream helping to just guide moisture in general into the Pacific Northwest. If it aims like this could be a little bit atmospheric rivery. We'll watch that closely, but more importantly, it's about the time frame of that storm. The west side's going to get rain by Halloween. For us, I just left a chance in Spokane. This is looking more like a Saturday event as opposed to Friday night. Still kept the chance of rain in the forecast just in case. Temperature is totally normal in the low 50s and upper 40s.
And last but not least, Hector Mendoza tells us about the weather in Boise.
A beautiful view out at McCall as we're looking here at the May Marina camera. You could see that snow from this weekend. And then we had a little bit of some of those foggier conditions that we saw here through this morning. And we saw beautiful views yesterday afternoon. This was 3 o'clock on Monday as we saw a lot more of those blue skies, snow on top of those mountains, and a picturesque view out in the portions of the Central Mountains. And that's what's going to continue on here for today. Temperatures will also warm up as yesterday we were into the upper 40s there in through Boise. Other spots we were into the low 50s as we look at the Treasure Valley, down into the low 40s for Jerome and Twin Falls. But again, a lot of these temperatures that we saw across southwest Idaho are going to start to climb from here, but it was a crisp morning start here for our Tuesday. Temperatures will continue cool and stay pretty quiet in terms of weather conditions all the way through Friday. And so for Halloween, we're not expecting much of that trick and more of the treat as we are going to see those drier conditions prevail there in through Friday. So again, as we look at our upper level pattern here, we're going to start to notice that a lot more of that high pressure is going to start to build here, and that's what's going to keep us pretty dry. We're also going to see a slow but very steady rise in temperature as it's only going to climb up about a couple degrees here through the rest of the week, and it's not until Saturday and Sunday that we anticipate a little bit more of that to really start to climb up. So we stay pretty dry all the way through Friday. Next chance for precipitation here in the Treasure Valley is going to be on Saturday. We still have a very low chance, but still we are having the expectation of maybe some stray showers that come along here to the Treasure Valley. And then after that, we stay pretty dry there into Sunday and Monday. And as we take a look at this future cast, the only thing that we are going to see is some of those clouds come and go as we do have a shortwave system that comes in initially there through Wednesday. Most of that precipitation stays well up north, not hitting any areas there in the west central mountains or through the central mountains. So the only other thing that comes down is going to be some of those clouds. So very limited moisture, not going to see a lot of rain associated with that. And that's going to be similar to what we're expecting to see on Thursday as we're going to see those clouds pick up again through Thursday afternoon. And that's pretty much going to be the pattern we're expecting to see through the rest of the week and heading into the weekend. So as we look at our 7-day forecast, we are going to start to notice those temperatures are going to start to teeter between those low to mid 50s. We are going to start to see some of those clouds come and go, but a little bit more sunshine as we get on in through Thursday. Then as we start to climb up into those low 60s, we expect a boost to come along in terms of those temperatures there Saturday into Sunday. And then as we head on closer into the beginning of next week, we'll continue with the clouds, but temperatures will stay warmer and slightly above some of those average temperatures that we are anticipating to see as we get closer into the beginning and middle of next week. So as we look at the 7-day forecast here for Boise, again, we're not expecting much of the sunshine that we're going to be seeing here for today, expected here through the rest of the week, as again, we're only going to see a lot more of those clouds start to increase until we get in through Wednesday afternoon. That continues all the way through Friday. We are going to start to notice the temperatures slowly climb up into the upper 50s, getting closer to average temperatures there that we see here towards the end of October. And then after that, we're going to stay above average as that high pressure system continues. We do see a chance for some showers that come along there through Saturday, but after that, we stay pretty dry there on Sunday. Those clouds will continue. Temperatures in the morning will start to rise to the mid to low 40s, and then we're expecting to stay around those low 60s Monday and all the way in through the middle of next week.
And that does it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.